I think it's about time somebody cleaned up Hyrule.
This video is sponsored by Mech Arena. I've played a lot of games on my phone, but usually when I try action or shooter games, they don't really do it for me. But Mech Arena is smooth, controls super well, and is really fun to play. Mech Arena is a 5v5 mech shooter that's not just fun, it's also super easy to get into. There's tons of different mechs with different play styles, and you can customize not just their weapons, but you can even change their skins and put a little bit of your own personality into it. Personally, I enjoy playing support roles, but I can't lie, sometimes it's fun to just smack rocket launchers on there and blow people up. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of that. I also love how easy it is to get into a game, which is super convenient considering I'm playing on my phone on the go. And by on the go, I mean still in bed because I haven't felt like getting up yet. There's 2 new maps releasing this month, as well as the game's first battle pass with lots of unique missions and cool things to win. There's even new events with cool prizes like new skins or weapons to play around with. And if that wasn't enough, it's 100% free to play. So use my link in the description below, as well as my personalized QR code here on the screen, to download the game on iOS or Android right now. And if you do, you'll get a free black carbon skin plus 300 coins and 50,000 credits. Download today! And thank you again to Mech Arena for sponsoring.
Young man, are you looking to drill? That depends on who's asking.
If I'm being honest, I haven't really been the biggest Breath of the Wild fan, at least for the past couple of years. I did do a really positive video on it when it first came out, but I did get an early copy. I also got an early Switch console. I was really excited in that new Zelda game hype. I did honestly enjoy it. I mean, I wasn't being fake or anything, but it was more of a first impressions video because I didn't really have a lot of time to work on it. And since that time, I've started to sour on the game a bit. It's not so much that I didn't like it or that I didn't think it was a good Zelda game, as much as that I realized a lot of the stuff it did really well was stuff I didn't care that much about, and a lot of the stuff I really loved about Zelda was either less emphasized or just straight up non-existent in Breath of the Wild. But recently I had an itch, and then I scratched it, and then I thought, hey, I should give Breath of the Wild another chance. I mean, I'm always saying things like, oh man, I wish I could go back and play Wind Waker or Ocarina of Time or insert any Zelda game here for the first time ever. That'd be great. Well, I realized that I kinda almost have that opportunity now because as much as I hate to admit it, I haven't actually beaten Breath of the Wild. He's a fraud! You suck! So I'm finally gonna do that. I'm gonna play as much as humanly possible and still finish this video on time and see if I have a change of heart. And I'm gonna be honest, if I still feel the same way, I'll tell you that, and if I change my mind, I'll tell you that too. Maybe by the end of this video, I'll absolutely hate Breath of the Wild and anybody who's ever played it. I mean, probably not, but... What? Let's do it!
Alright, I'm so excited to collect 1,000 Korok seeds. Let's go! Just a little tip from me if you're new to this game, by the way. Never upgrade your heart containers a single time. Just upgrade your stamina over and over and over until you max it out. I don't know what a combat is. All I know is run. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Please. Oh my god! Dodged! Duck dodged!
I think the thing I hear people complain about the most in Breath of the Wild is the dungeons. The divine beasts!
Everyone's freaking out about that divine beast wreaking havoc and killing people, but I have bigger problems. My mom is so annoying! While I love the feeling of running around inside and outside of these massive robots, they are visually very similar and all involve finding 5 platforms and smacking your iPad into them. And the bosses are all basically the same too. I mean, they are technically different, but at the end of the day, they're just 4 red glowy Ganon guys. This was a little bit disappointing to me, because I always loved Zelda bosses. I like to look at them as a little bit of a reward for completing the dungeon. Congratulations, you beat the dungeon! Now you get to fight...
No, I'm good.
Take one of the something Blight Ganons, and I guarantee they'll be worse than any other random Zelda boss you could come up with. Okay, almost any other Zelda boss. Bloop, glub, I'm a boss, hello. You can basically kill them all the same way too. Get some air, slow-mo arrow them in the face over and over, then phase 2, get some air, slow-mo arrow them in the face over and over. Then they die in a diarrhea explosion. All over me. It's just weird to me that the random bosses in the overworld are better and more interesting than the ones in the actual dungeons.
I guess to be fair, Thunder Blight Ganon kind of stands out to the other whatever Blight Ganons, but it's mostly just because he's insanely difficult in comparison. I'm pretty sure that was the only part of the game where I almost rage quit.
Hey, I may have died over and over and over and over, but at least I had a full stamina bar. That really helped a lot. Despite my prior convictions, I didn't actually mind the dungeons that much this time around. At the very least, they're not too long, and the puzzles are fairly creative for the Zelda series, so that's nice. And I'd say the same thing for the shrines, which are another thing people complain about a lot. Sure, there's a lot of them, sure, they all look exactly the same, but there's not many that I would say were bad. I wish there was more of a variety of enemies to face in the combat ones, instead of just these laser beam, sword axe, robot guys that all have the same moveset and only vary in difficulty based on how much of a damage sponge they are. But I do generally have fun with the puzzle shrines because they don't feel like the typical Zelda dungeon fare. It's not just push the block into the place or light the torch with the fire. Often it feels like there's multiple ways to complete them, and sometimes you can straight up outsmart the shrine and come up with your own way of doing it. Take that, society! Then there's the shrines that say something something blessing. Translation? Here you go. They're kind of like those couches sitting on the side of the road with a free sign on it, but a shrine. Hey, there's 120 of them. I guess it makes sense that they ran out of ideas at some point. Similar to the main dungeons, they're satisfying to solve, don't take that long to do, and you get good rewards and items, not to mention spirit orbs that are insanely useful. I mean, I need more stamina. Okay, I have places to go!
Another thing I was kind of disappointed in was the lack of traditional Zelda items. You know, the hook shot, glass bottles, and especially a musical item. I do get why a lot of those items might not work in the game, but it would be nice to see some of those return, especially like an ocarina or something in Breath of the Wild 2. I would really like to see that.
But the game does have a lot of insanely cool weapons and different weapon types, which definitely makes combat more fun and less repetitive than in previous games. It also has some completely useless, albeit very fun to use weapons, which I appreciate. Like this toy mallet, which doesn't do very much damage, but does knock enemies really, really far away. Which I felt like was a perfect excuse to redo my Katamari Hammer edit from like 10 years ago that probably nobody remembers. And by far one of my favorite new additions, tons of different armor sets. I don't really enjoy 100%ing games, but I have been trying to collect all the outfits. I'm nowhere close to having them all, but I do have a lot. I mean, I have enough clothes to put on an entire Link fashion show. Of course, there's the Gerudo outfit. Ooh, just check out that transversus how do you pronounce this?
Transversus abdominis.
This is probably the closest we're ever gonna get to Link butt crack. How about the ancient gear? I can't afford all of it, so just the helmet. Sorry. The ancient gear offers Guardian Resist up stats. You can't fear Guardians if you can't see them. I know we're supposed to be looking at the hood here, but I can't help but notice that he doesn't have nipples. Why does Link not have nipples, but Mario does? Who's responsible for this creative decision? This is disturbing to me. Not only are the outfits fun, they also give stat boosts, which makes them useful, and importantly, they give you something to actually spend your freaking rupees on. A huge problem I have with some Zelda games like Wind Waker is that you get all this money, but you have almost nothing to do with it. Well, Breath of the Wild definitely doesn't have that problem. In fact, there's multiple times while playing that I had to straight up grind to make rupees for one thing or the other. It's time for another tip from Peebs. You need money? Well, here's what you do. Murder! More specifically, you murder cute, adorable creatures. Yes, slaughter as many adorable creatures as humanly possible. You can't run. Okay, I guess you can. Who needs arrows? I'll just run into you with my trusty steed, Dumpy. He's a finely tuned killing machine. Just look at all that adorable animal flesh bouncing around. Mmm, pixelated flesh. And when you're done, sell it to Beetle. Hey, remember when you tried to kill me in Skyward Sword? Yeah, I didn't forget. Take this, loser.
Oh, bye.
All right, everyone, here's how you make my favorite meal. Bird flesh, bird egg stew. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that offensive to your people? My bad.
One thing I've always felt the game did well was the combat. I mean, you can barely even compare the combat in Breath of the Wild to the other games. I guess I just never cared that much. I mean, I never really played Zelda for the combat anyway, so it didn't really do that much for me. Also, I suck. So that probably had something to do with it.
All right, I've seen videos of how to do this on the internet. There we go. But this time around, I decided to give the combat more of a chance, and, you know, in between all the running away that I did. And I have to say, I actually had a lot of fun with it. There's certain things about the combat that I didn't even realize the first time I played, like doing sneak attacks, for example. And that's too bad, because it's really the perfect technique for my, play style? Yeah, let's just go with that.
I think my only complaint I haven't brought up to this point so far is the Korok seeds. Well, I guess I did the thing with the thing. But I didn't really actually talk about it though. You know? That's what I'll do now.
Nailed it!
You found me.
Get used to hearing that because they are all over the frickin' place. There's even some in the Guardian-infested Hyrule Castle at the end of the game. Why are you hiding here, you absolute asshole? This is no time for hide and seek. This is a very serious situation.
They're a blessing in that they give you lots of stuff to do out in the open world, and just like the shrines, they also give you rewards that are super useful. That is, being able to upgrade your weapon, shield, and bow stashes. So you definitely have incentive to collect them. They're a curse because if you're like me and you're very easily distracted, you see a Korok seed out in the distance, and you feel like, I have to go get that. And then you see another one, and so I have to go get that. And then you see another one, so you think, oh, I have to go get that. And then you just keep running around in circles on wild goose chases over and over and over until you actually never complete the game and never actually do anything significant in the game, and so you freaking quit. I got on a little tangent there. I forgot what I was supposed to say. That's what happened in my first playthrough anyway.
This time I really tried to police myself into staying on focus. Sure, I explored from time to time, got plenty of Korok seeds, etc., but I didn't allow myself to get quite as sidetracked with it, especially when I found one that had me going super far in the exact opposite direction I was currently moving in. No. Nope. I'm out! Even my OCD tendencies are telling me that that is not necessary to get. By far the best part of the game is the open world. In fact, I don't think it's much of a stretch to say that it's the best open world game I've ever played. At the very least, it's the most interesting and best designed open world game I've played, which is extra impressive considering how huge it is. Most open world games have these really big maps, but realistically, there isn't that much to do, and any area you come across is likely gonna be forgotten 10 minutes later. But I have yet yet to find a single solitary area in this game that isn't interesting in some way. Whether there's enemies to fight, Korok seeds to find, even visually, every little area stands out as unique. And when there's something to discover, it's almost always immediately obvious, even when you're just looking at the map. Like this flat, open mountain area, for example. It's obvious that these two rocks are something, like a Korok seed, maybe? I don't know, I haven't figured it out. This is actually something, right? Someone in the comments, please tell me, is this a Korok seed? I can't figure out how to get, I feel like I'm going crazy. I found so many Korok seeds that I'm starting to see Korok seed puzzles in real life. Luckily, since the open world is so big, you can find and tame horses to help you get around. You can actually mount tons of different animals in the game, like skeleton horses or even bears, although they won't let you register them at the stable, unfortunately. Oh well. The horses even have different stats and temperaments. Again, here's my favorite trusty steed, Dumpy. Except he's actually not that trustworthy because he's a little bit moody and likes to throw me off in very inconvenient situations. No, Dumpy, this is not the time for your temper tantrums. Dumpy, you temperamental bitch! I have to say though, I was a little bit disappointed that Epona wasn't actually in the game, except for with the amiibo. When the game first came out, I spent a very significant amount of time trying to find Epona out in the open world, only to realize that she was essentially paid DLC. I mean, I already have like all the amiibos anyways, but it was more like the principle of the thing, and you know, it just really hurts to see Nintendo selling out like that, you know?
Remember to click the link in the description below to play Mech Arena right now!
I remember being disappointed with the side quests, but I've since found a lot of really cool ones, and completing them is now one of my favorite things to do. Sure, there's a lot of, hey, go kill these guys for me, please. Okay, thanks. But there's a lot more than just that. There's quests that have you solve puzzles, find things in the open world, kill big world bosses, tons of stuff. Some of the quests are even kinda hard. In order to beat the Crowned Beast side quest, I needed an entire set of stealth clothes. And I had to sell this lady fortunes worth of perishable meals I cooked in order to afford it. I don't know exactly what she's gonna do with all that food, but hey, it's not my problem. The Labyrinth Maze quests are also super cool, and you get one of the best gear sets in the game for completing them. In fact, the rewards for the quests are a huge part of what makes them worth completing. I swear, this game is insanely good at incentivizing you to do things through rewards and upgrades. It's nuts. If a single solitary monster part falls off a cliff, I'm suiciding my way down there to get it if I have to. Some of the quests even unlock new vendors you can buy things from, like the Kala Ancient Tech Lab Torch quest. By the way, this guy literally forces you to strip in order to start the quest. Just a little bit creepy. Could I put my clothes back on before we continue this conversation, maybe? When I first played the game, I did feel like there was something missing, something about Zelda that I've always really liked, all the weird and creepy stuff. Sure, they might not have included Tingle, although they did include the Tingle outfit in the DLC. Put Tingle in Breath of the Wild too, you cowards! But there's definitely a lot of really weird characters in the game. I actually wanted to talk about them even more in this video, but it was running a little bit long, so I actually talked about them on a Peebs video on my other channel. I don't really know what's happening down there, but I do know that it at least involves protection. I do have to mention the Yiga assassins though. What the heck is up with these guys? The conversations with them are just so nonsensical. I'll just find some random girl shaking out in the rain like she's having an aneurysm. I ask her what's wrong and she says, I need grilled salmon. And then she tries to murder me. All right, I did it. I played as much as humanly possible while still being able to finish this video on time. Hopefully, anyway, you let me know. And I finally beat it.
Peebs. Thanks to you, the video is complete, and a slightly significant portion of the viewers are satisfied. We will all be awaiting your newly updated Zelda series ranking.
It sucks!
About 12th place, just under Zelda 2.
Okay, I'm just kidding, all right? Don't dislike the video, if that's even a thing you can do anymore. I actually genuinely had so much fun playing Breath of the Wild. In fact, in the middle of playing it for footage for this video, I felt compelled to pause and go onto my Twitter and admit that I had never been as wrong about anything as I have been for Breath of the Wild. I had to come out and admit, nay, confess my sins. Well, I'm not exactly sure where I would put it in terms of my ranking. It's just so different from the other Zelda games that it's kind of hard to do. It's definitely a lot higher, maybe even more towards the top. Yeah, I'll have to update my top 10 at some point again, I guess. I like it though, okay? It's really good, and I'm very excited for Breath of the Wild 2, and I'm sure I'll be doing a Breath of the Wild 2 video on this channel, so make sure you subscribe if you want to see that in the future. If you want to see more Breath of the Wild, you can check out one of the Breath of the Wild hacking videos I did on this channel, or if you want to see me talk about the weird characters that I didn't get a chance to talk about in this video, you can check out this video I did on Peebs, where I talk about those weird Breath of the Wild characters. Hit the like button, all right? Just do it. Bye-bye. I'll see you on more another Zelda Month video soon. Bye-bye.